Title: Homeless Girl Pleads for Help from Big Shaq. The truth he discovers will leave you speechless. The camera pans across illuminated Times Square, capturing the contrast between vibrant lights and shadows in the corners. On the ground, a 12-year-old girl wearing tattered clothes holds a piece of cardboard that reads, "Need help." Anything helps? Destiny is not always kind. Sometimes, it throws insurmountable challenges to test the most innocent among us. Today, you will hear a story that will change the way you see the world. Main character: Sarah, a 12-year-old girl with bright but weary blue eyes. Sarah had been living on the streets for 2 months after losing her parents in a car accident. With no close relatives and an overwhelmed adoption system, she was pushed into the invisible abyss of the big city. Her only companion was a small stray dog named Rusty. One night, as the biting wind threatened to freeze her fingers, Sarah spotted a tall, imposing man stepping out of a fancy restaurant. He was unmistakable, Big Shaq, the basketball star. "Please, sir, could you spare some food?" Big Shaq, caught off guard, stopped. His security tried to move the girl away, but he raised his hand, signaling them to stop. He knelt to her level. "How did you end up here, little one?" Sarah hesitated. Trusting people was hard, but something in Big Shaq's eyes seemed genuine. Big Shaq decided to take Sarah and Rusty to a nearby restaurant. He ordered the heartiest meal on the menu for her. As she ate, he asked gentle questions, trying to understand her story. Sarah, fighting back tears, "I just want to find a home again. I didn't choose to be here." Big Shaq felt a pang in his heart. He remembered his own difficult childhood, growing up in a poor neighborhood. Compassion is a universal language. And at that moment, Big Shaq realized he needed to do more. He promised Sarah he would help her find a safe place to stay. But something inside him told him there was more to her story than met the eye. Big Shaq asked his team to investigate Sarah's background. He wanted to ensure she was safe and that no one was exploiting her vulnerability. The next morning, his agent returned with shocking information. Sarah wasn't just a homeless girl. She had a past that was about to turn Big Shaq's world upside down. "Shaq, you need to see this. Sarah, she might be connected to something much bigger than we imagined." Big Shaq froze as he looked at the dossier. He saw an old document that seemed impossible. Sarah had family ties to someone significant from his own past. Big Shaq stared at Sarah, now full of questions. He knew he needed to protect her, but also uncover the truth. Who was this girl, really? Now, in his Manhattan penthouse, Big Shaq watches Sarah sleeping on the sofa in his living room. Rusty is curled up at her feet. He holds the dossier, still in disbelief over what he read. Sometimes, life presents us with mysteries that defy our understanding. For Big Shaq, Sarah wasn't just a lost girl. She was the missing piece of a puzzle from his own story. The dossier revealed that Sarah was the daughter of Emily Carter, a woman Big Shaq had known years ago, before his rise to fame. Emily had worked as a social worker on a community project that helped Big Shaq escape the streets and achieve his dreams. Shaq, then 17, practiced basketball shots on an abandoned court. Emily appeared, offering words of encouragement and connecting him to local coaches who changed his life. "Emily, you were my angel. And now, your daughter needs me." Emily had tragically died in the same accident that left Sarah orphaned. But the reason Sarah had no one to care for her seemed more sinister. As Big Shaq tried to process the information, his phone rang. It was his agent. "Shaq, you won't believe this. It seems the accident that killed Sarah's parents wasn't an accident. There's something very strange about this story." The police records showed inconsistencies. Emily's car brakes failed, but forensic reports indicated they had been tampered with. Someone tried to get rid of her. But why? And how does Sarah fit into this? Shaq decided to hire a private investigator to dig deeper into the story. He knew there was something more dangerous lurking. The next morning, Shaq took Sarah out for a walk. He wanted to get her off the streets and try to make her feel like a normal child. They went to a park where she could play with Rusty and open up a bit more. "I used to come to parks like this with my mom. She always said every tree had a secret." Big Shaq noticed the girl's strength, despite everything she had faced. He promised himself he would do everything to protect her. Meanwhile, Shaq's investigator uncovered more about Emily's final days. She had been working on a secret project, trying to expose a network of corruption that preyed on vulnerable families. Emily was about to reveal the truth, but she paid a high price for it. Now, her daughter was at the center of a dangerous power struggle. Back at the penthouse, Shaq received a report from the investigator. Emily had gathered evidence against a powerful magnate, Richard Harlow, the owner of a network of fraudulent shelters. Harlow, I've heard that name before. He's a sponsor of sports events. How could he be involved in this? The investigator explained that Harlow used the shelters to embezzle funds and silence anyone who threatened his operation. Emily had been the last person he needed to eliminate. Shaq looking at Sarah, and now he'll want to silence Sarah too. Shaq knew he had to act quickly. He decided to take Sarah to a safe place while retrieving the evidence Emily had hidden. He called an old friend, Lisa, a lawyer specializing in human rights, to help him. Shaq, if what you're saying is true, we have a strong case against Harlow. But we need to find this evidence before he realizes we're onto him. Meanwhile, Sarah, unaware of the danger she was in, found an old key among the belongings Shaq had recovered from Emily's car. The key had a tag with an address. Shaq, this belonged to my mom. I think it might be important. The address led to a small storage unit in an isolated part of the city. Big Shaq, Lisa, and Sarah decided to go to the storage unit. But they weren't the only ones interested in that location. Outside, a black car was parked with its headlights off. Someone was watching. The truth is close, but so is danger. Will they reach it before it's too late? The camera focuses on the black car parked outside the storage unit. Inside, Big Shaq, Lisa, and Sarah are trying to unlock the door. The key Sarah found opens the padlock with a crisp click. Narrator. Some truths remain hidden not because they are hard to find, but because they are too dangerous to reveal. Inside the storage unit, the air is cold and heavy with dust. Stacks of boxes reach the ceiling. Sarah finds a small wooden box with her mother's name engraved on it. Lisa. Shaq, look at this. It seems like Emily knew she would be pursued. She left everything here. The box contained documents, photos, and a USB drive. Lisa connected the USB drive to the laptop she had brought. On the laptop screen, videos and reports detailed how Richard Harlow embezzled millions and exploited vulnerable families. The evidence was damning. Lisa stunned. With this, we can expose Harlow and shut him down. Emily did an incredible job. Outside, the men in the black car watched. One of them spoke on the phone. Man in the car. Yes, sir. They're here. We need to act before it's too late. While Lisa continued examining the documents, Sarah pointed to an envelope hidden at the bottom of the box. Inside was a handwritten letter. Emily's letter. Sarah, if you're reading this, it means something went wrong. Never let them make you feel small. You're stronger than you think, and this fight is yours too. Trust the right people. Trust him. My mom knew something was going to happen. Suddenly, they heard footsteps outside. Shaq realized they were being watched. We need to get out of here. Now. They turned off the lights and hid. Armed men entered the storage unit, searching the area. Lisa held Sarah tightly while Shaq planned an escape. I'll distract them. Lisa, take Sarah to the car. Shaq ran through the unit, knocking over objects to create noise. The men followed him, while Lisa and Sarah slipped out through the back exit. Outside, Shaq managed to lose the men and rejoined Lisa and Sarah in the car. The truth can be powerful, but it's also dangerous. Now, they weren't just fighting for justice, but for their lives. Back at the penthouse, Lisa began organizing the documents while Shaq reinforced security. He called a journalist friend, Marcus, who specialized in investigative reporting. If what you have is solid, Shaq, we'll take this public. But you know Harlow won't just stand by. Meanwhile, Sarah began processing everything. She remembered one more important detail. My mom mentioned there was a backup. She always said she had a plan B. They searched through the boxes but couldn't find anything. Then Sarah remembered a notebook her mom always carried. Do you know where that notebook is? She used to hide important things in my old teddy bear. They decided to return to Sarah's old apartment. The building was abandoned, but the apartment remained untouched. There, Sarah found her old teddy bear, torn at one arm. Inside was a small USB device. This could be the plan B. Let's see what's on it. The USB contained more evidence, including recordings of Harlow discussing his illegal schemes. It was enough to dismantle his operation. But every step forward brought them closer to danger. And time was running out. On their way back to the penthouse, Marcus called with alarming news. "Shaq, you've been followed. I think someone on my team leaked information. Harlow knows you have the evidence." Shaq realizes he can no longer trust anyone. He decides there's only one way out: to deliver the evidence directly to the FBI. As they plan their next move, the building is surrounded. "They're here. We have to move fast. We can't let them get their hands on this." The tension reaches its peak. They know they have only one chance to escape with the evidence and save Sarah. But Harlow is determined to stop the truth from coming out. The next move will be decisive. Who can you trust when everything is against you? The camera shows Big Shaq, Lisa, and Sarah preparing to flee the penthouse. The building is surrounded by Harlow's men, and every second counts. Narrator: when all seems lost, it's in moments of despair that true strength is revealed. Shaq decides on a bold plan. He hands the USB drive with the evidence to Lisa and instructs her to take Sarah out through the back while he distracts the men. Shaq firmly: "You head straight to the FBI. Don't stop for anything." Sarah grabbing Shaq's arm: "What about you? I can't lose you too." Shaq smiling: "I'm too big for them to lose sight of. Now go, little one." Lisa and Sarah run for the back exit while Shaq draws the men to the opposite side. He overturns furniture and uses his strength to block paths, creating maximum confusion. While Shaq keeps the men occupied, Lisa and Sarah manage to leave the building and get into a car. However, one of Harlow's men spots them and begins a chase through the streets of New York. Shaq, now cornered in the building, is captured, but he remains unfazed. Shaq, staring down the henchman: "Tell Harlow that no matter what he does, the truth will win." Lisa drives through the streets as Sarah tightly grips the USB drive. They manage to shake off the pursuers and arrive at the FBI building. "Lisa, we have evidence against Richard Harlow. He's involved in corruption and sabotage that cost Emily Carter her life." The agents quickly examine the evidence. One of them, Agent Collins, promises to take immediate action. Agent Collins: "With this, we can arrest Harlow. But what about Shaq? Is he in danger?" Still trembling, Sarah pleads for help. "Sarah, please save him. He risked everything for me." As the FBI prepares to act, Harlow, in his luxurious office, is informed that Shaq has been captured. Harlow, irritated: "He knows too much. Make sure he never talks again." At the warehouse where Shaq is being held, the henchmen press him to reveal where the evidence is. But Shaq remains calm. Shaq smiling: "You really think this is going to end well for you?" The FBI is already on their way. Before the men can react, FBI agents storm the warehouse. Lisa had sent the coordinates through an app on Shaq's phone. An intense firefight ensues, but in the end, the agents successfully rescue Shaq. With Shaq safe, the FBI launches a coordinated operation to arrest Harlow. The evidence collected is enough to dismantle his corruption network and expose all his accomplices. Narrator: the truth, though sometimes buried, always finds a way to surface. Sarah finally finds safety. With the support of Lisa and Big Shaq, she enters a protection program, ensuring she'll never have to live in fear again. Sarah, hugging Shaq: "Thank you for not giving up on me." Shaq, emotional: "You were never alone, little one. Your mother would be proud of you." Months later, Shaq organizes a charity event in Emily Carter's honor, raising funds to help vulnerable families. Sarah takes the stage beside him, now smiling like any other child. Sarah, to the crowd: "My mom always believed that one act of kindness could change the world. Today, I believe that too." The camera pulls back, showing Sarah, Shaq, and Lisa together, as the crowd gives a standing ovation. Narrator: sometimes heroes don't wear capes, but find strength in compassion and courage to change the fate of those who need it most. If you believe in the power of kindness, share this story. Because together, we can make a difference.